legislature, like in every other climate, especially in a federal system like a presidential system like ours, the legislature make laws, they provide oversight, and they also represent the people. And particularly in this case is the lawmaking and that of the oversight. The lawmaking is critical here because recently they passed the law that changed the name from Nigerian Prison Service to Nigerian Correctional Service, and also other ancillary matters that are aimed at strengthening the Nigerian Correctional Services. Then in the oversight function, the lawmakers are expected, like you rightly noted, to provide some form of oversight over government agencies that have responsibility for managing our prisons, for managing criminals, and not just confining them, but also rehabilitating them. So the legislature have a role to ensure that they have the right funding, they have the right policy, because they also have a responsibility to what is the policy around prison reforms and all that, and what are the laws. So they have the responsibility to oversee, to ensure that government agencies comply with existing laws. They also utilize funds based on the way they are appropriated for. So they have a huge responsibility, and like I always tell them, they can never excuse themselves from any failure. If the government agencies perform well, the legislature take credit and share in the credit, and if they perform poorly, they also share in the failure. So the legislature cannot excuse themselves from whatever failure that exists. The current assembly has been existing since 2019, so they've been in power for like 3 years, and within the course of these 3 years, the Committee on Internal Affairs, specifically in the Senate, has the mandate, and the House has the mandate to oversee the management of our prisons and, like I said before, related issues. So it will be a misnomer for the Senate President to just realize that Kuje, not Gashua, not Lagos, not Kirikiri, but just Kuje, a stone throw from here, does not have, where high-profile prisoners are kept, does not have CCTV, and is maybe feigning ignorance of it. I don't think that is right. If as a Senate President he has not had the opportunity of visiting, he has assigned that responsibility to committees with chairmen and members to make sure that that happens. So it does mean that either members of those committees and the leadership of those committees have derelicated on their duties, or they've made effort in the past without much success. But it will be really, really shocking for him to feign ignorance of it completely, to say Kuje prisons does not have CCTV camera in this age, in 2022. And that is why I said, what have they learned so far? And also, Kuje prison is a place where you have terrorists being held, very, very dangerous criminals who have, engaged in bombing and involved in mass killing. You have such people in that kind of location. You don't have CC. So we wonder, how have they been monitoring the prisoners' movements and all that? And from the videos I also saw, we saw that there are even trees inside the prison compound. If there are trees, it means that any prisoner can climb any of the trees, or even hibernate without people being actually monitoring them. So it's really a big shocker. And I've also, like you rightly noted, as part of their oversight functions, members are expected to visit on the site visits. I expected that the Committee on Internal Affairs should have, learning from the previous jailbreaks within this period, will have visited all the prison facilities in Nigeria, at least the major prison facilities, to inspect the facility. For instance, when the one in Kotonkarifu in Kogi State was broken, I think they visited. When they visited, we realized that even the house we were housing those criminals was made of mud. Prisons of pre-colonial era. Those are the kind of builds. So it was easy for them to just break down the walls. Legislators, through their oversight, can do their oversight, right, through engagement with management of those agencies to ask the right questions, especially during budget defense sessions. They also have the responsibility to go on the site visits to look at facilities. The on the site visits are determined by two or more factors. One, there is a construction work going on, or there is a rehabilitation work going on with budgetary provisions. They want to go and visit to see if the work complies with the specifications of the job, if resources are being used adequately. So that will be based on project-based inspection. The second part of it will be fact-finding visits. Fact-finding visit will be that, okay, jailbreaks had occurred, or prisons are overpopulated. You know, that has been a major challenge in this country. We want to go and find out why these prisons are overpopulated, what can be done to expand the facilities, what can we do to ensure that prisoners' welfare is properly taken care of, what can we do to decongest those prisons so that people who are awaiting trial, people who are held income, just like the chief judge does, to go and see her. Those are things that they go and do. But most importantly, we have been inundated with cases of prison break by terrorist groups and other criminals across the country. So they go on fact finding to find out what are the measures put in place, what can we do to prevent such occurrence. So we expect that they should have gone around the country. And when they go there, what are they looking for? Are the prison facilities adequate? If they are not, so this is now supply based. If they are not adequate and they have seen gaps, they need to come back and now make recommendations. For instance, if I have gone and seen that there is no CCTV, that is a big issue. When they come back, they're supposed to now invite the facility, the managers, the minister for interior, the controller of the prisons, and other related persons. Why are these prisons not having this kind of facilities? I wouldn't want to limit it to the APC government, but I'm just going to say that governments, like in our climate, especially in recent times, but it's more pronounced in the current administration. Because I remember during the Jonathan era, when the case of the former minister for aviation, Stella Odua, Nigerians rallied to say sack her and all that. It took a lot for the president to even respond to those agitations, right? I remember also the immigration recruitment saga when Abba Moro was, the minister for interior, where people, nothing happened to him. But in the current administration, it's even worse. We've had a lot of, so I think it boils down to accountability and leadership. Once you are given leadership or you are given a mandate in trust, we expect that you discharge that, and once you fail, you are supposed to be either disciplined or held accountable for your failure. The bulk rests on the commander-in-chief in this case. That is Mr. President. We've had too many instances. Jailbreaks have occurred severally. No single person has been held to account. Bombing, insecurity has increased. We have an NSA who has been on seats since 2015 till today. He's still on seats. No reprimand, nothing, no sack. He's still there, right? We have controllers of prisons who have been on seats when these events have occurred. Controllers of even the local prison. Nobody has been reprimanded. So once you don't hold people to account, it becomes like people become, laid back, and nobody is held accountable. And people will continue to knowing that there is no consequence for their actions.